This is a stretch that we are going to start working on sometime this fall. We did a few things in the spring. You can see here just a nasty thicket of buckthorn. It's all buckthorn, a lot of seeding plants, being heavy producers. And we weren't able to get to this section. We don't address areas unless we're going to really go at it for the next 12 months. So this one we'll do a little bit in this fall just to get it started. Next year we'll be at it. This was cleaned out to get access down to that creek from the city. There was some issue they had to fix, so they took everything out of there, and it doesn't have to look exactly like that, but got through here, start seeing very thick buckthorn. It's a thicket, large plants, small plants all the edge, completely choked everything out. There is some native life in the center, but it's very sparse. And we did clean out some of the bigger honeysuckles in here and some other things in the back end. And you can see it opened it up a little bit in some pockets. That's all we did, just certain pockets and specific plants. Now there's a good tree structure. There's walnuts in here, hackberry, and some native locusts, some maples, not too many maples. But what's covering all this is that's all river grape, but underneath it, it's either big buckthorn or very large honeysuckle. On the back end of it, we did cut some down. We left this right here. This area right here is probably only 3 large honeysuckles. It's getting weakened out by the river grape, but that'll have to go too, just so we don't smother the whole area. These areas are very small, so we let it grow here and there. It's very beneficial, but if it's going to smother natives or make it hard to reestablish, we have to at least check it a little bit. But as you can see, more buckthorn. These are pretty good sized ones. And a lot of the ashes died in here, unfortunately. But yeah, you can see huge berry producing plants and thicket along the edge. So there's quite a bit. Yeah, these buckthorns are very large. In there, you can see how thick it is. That's all buckthorn in there. We cut along the edge just to be able to make a trail a little bit, but we didn't do much. And you can see that one right there, the black one, that's a buckthorn. Those two right there are buckthorn. So there's not a whole lot. The ones in the middle could easily be cleaned out, and then you just have to deal with those. So we're gonna address things like that this year, and surprisingly, you'll be able to cover a lot of area just by killing a handful of plants. But yeah, there's some mulberry in here that shouldn't be here. A lot of it hybridizes, so it's kind of hard to determine unless you're going to kill all of it. So right through here, you can see some buckthorn. Large tree, I can't see the canopy, so I'm not sure what it is. But yeah, a lot of big buckthorn in there. And that was more of that area. So this doesn't seem like it'd be a lot of work just to address that area, but it is a wasteland in the middle. There's certain pockets with some life. Along the edges, you'll find some things that are beneficial, but very few things are in here as far as herbaceous. Yeah, you can see this is where earlier in the spring we cut back along the edge. Those are like huge honeysuckles, 10-12 feet tall, huge spread. So they cut about 20 of those really quickly, and at least you can get it moving along. But that's all we did in this area, and that was in spring, and now we're going, and we're already in fall, pushing towards winter. So what we can do this year will really be dependent on how long winter lasts, or holds off rather. If it holds off until later in December, we'll get some stuff done. So yeah, again, there are some pockets, like we'll go in this area right here where you can see where it's relatively open, and we'll clean that out as quickly as possible. It's a very large area. We're not going to go into the areas that are very dense. These are the areas that we will develop first, and then we'll work off of them. And along the edges, a lot of berry producing. Yeah, again, along the edges is always thick buckthorn. That's just how it goes. It creates thickets. In the middle, it creates a thicket, but there's a canopy, and underneath it's bare. So through here, yeah, it's a little island here, just this freaking monster. Just tons of buckthorn seeds. In this area, I don't know if it's ever been dealt with at all by anybody. Maybe years ago. Again, yeah, an area like this can be cleaned out pretty quickly. So we'll find these little pockets, clean them out, and work along the edges. And that way, we'll just keep working, keep developing these edges of these pockets that we've cleared out. And there's snake root in there. There's some things in there, but not a whole lot. And yeah, again, more buckthorn. Primarily buckthorn and honeysuckle in here. That's what we always fight around here. You'll see some privet mixed in there, some burning bush, some type of euonymuses occasionally, other than burning bush. Again, yeah, underneath that is the honeysuckle. They love it. I mean, once it's going to weaken it substantially. It might be even half dead. So we can cut that to the ground very quickly in the fall. We'd have to get those vines under control. They're everywhere. They're just choking everything. But in some cases, that's decent. That's a good thing for us at this point. But ultimately, we need that sun to hit the ground. So they'll have to be cut back. We don't kill those. We just cut them back and make them compete again. And if they get out of hand, we got to keep them in check. But rarely do we kill those. And yeah, some ubiquitous goldenrod. That thing's everywhere, but hey, it's better than buckthorn. Again, another area here that in the back there, we cut down a bunch of big honeysuckle. We haven't done all of them, but again, you can see this little pocket here. Well, it's cut down a little bit, mostly honeysuckle, and it's relatively large. So again, this is a type of area that, hey, this is what we're going to work on first. Open this up. The dense patches, we'll get to those. We'll find the path of least resistance at all times, and then clean that up first, because we can clean up large areas quickly. This one right here, we'll clean up very quickly, and we were able to do that already just by cutting some of the monster honeysuckle in the back there and in the middle. So it opened it up. So yeah, it's strange that there's not a whole lot of buckthorn right in here. Somebody might have come in here and cleaned it up at one time. That's all I can figure. Considering how little it is, it's possible right along this area. But also might not be able to have been able to compete underneath all these trees. So yeah, this area is pretty long, but it's not very wide. And yeah, look, some native choke cherry. So there's some native things in here, and yeah, I see a lot of native stuff in there that we'll be able to spread out around here. And yeah, some native willows. So yeah, again, we did cut down. You can see the dead there. That was all honeysuckle that we chopped down in the spring, and that's all we did was just cut down these big monsters, 20, 30 of them, and it made an impact because they were so big and nothing was competing on. Around here, we don't have a lot of, in this particular area, a lot of tree of heaven, but there's a pretty good population of it right here, and that's something we're going to have to deal with next year. We could do something this year, but we're bogged down. But next year, that's going to go. We'll deal with it next year. A couple of pretty good sized ones. This one's just packed with friggin' seeds. That's unfortunate. That's the first one we're going to get. Yeah, there's the big ones. Yeah, real monsters. Yeah, those have to die. So I mean, we don't have those around here in this density except a few pockets, and that will have to be dealt with immediately next year. And you can see here, yeah, tree of heaven, thicket of buckthorn, and more tree of heaven, and native linden up there. So that's good. So yeah, those will have to go. We should really deal with those pretty easily. The big ones are going to be a problem. We'll deal with them though, just because they could fall. So through here, yeah, more thicket of buckthorn, and So I said very long area, not particularly wide. And here, nice big patch of invasive privet. I see a few berries on it. So I'm sure the birds have already spread it around. So that'll be something we're going to deal with that this year. Just because it's an easy thing to deal with. Some wafer ash growing in there. So things want to grow in here. Some natives. I don't know what's in there. We'll find. So yeah, another wafer ash. So quite a few of those in here. So yeah, here's another area that's somewhat cleaned out. I mean, there's a honeysuckle right there. We didn't do anything in here, but that whole stretch over there is all honeysuckle and buckthorn, and along the edges. So we just have to make sweeps and really go through the area and address the lowest hanging fruits, the areas that can be cleaned out very quickly in large areas. And this will be a 12-month project for us. We'll start a little bit this fall and we'll be finishing it up next year. We might be able to get it a little bit sooner depending on how many people we have and how fast it goes. Because in the interior, a lot of the stuff's big. So you cut one thing down, it makes a big impact. But there's a potential for us to really make an impact. Go in there and clean out all that area right there. You know, kill a handful of buckthorn and just open this up, and we can work from that. The density of this stuff is incredible right here. It's like it's impenetrable. So these are kind of things that you have to find in the spring and fall to be able to access. Right now we couldn't really do it. We could, but we'd just be pulling these vines and it'd be just too much work. The only way you're going to address these areas is in the early spring or in the late fall. So this is the end of that stretch, the defined area of it, and yeah, just more crap. So yeah, as I said, it's not particularly intimidating. We're gonna be able to clean up a lot of big areas quickly, and then we'll try to make a road or a walkway right along the back end of it, the whole stretch. That would be one of the main goals, and then we can kind of break it down into little sections and start just shaving it off week by week. And that's usually what we do. We don't just stay in one area. We're not going to go, if we just go the easy low-hanging fruit, get that stuff, move down farther road, get more of that stuff, and every time you come back there's more of that, and then ultimately just keep thinning it out. Attacking these real big thickets like this from the front, it's never going to happen. We have to clean out the back before we can get to this, and then we'll address it from the back end. And I'm thinking like this whole area right here, just 2 big honeysuckles, and it's going to be all cleaned up. So it's really not that much work compared to a thicket of buckthorn or just a ton of honeysuckle. It's going to be like 3 large plants, and you're going to clean out something like 60-70 feet by 20 feet. So yeah, just another day in the battle against invasives.